Hello, I'm back again. When I showed you the model kits I have, I forgot to account for the ones that I bought during deployment. Now, only one of the three have arrived, but the one that did is the Revel Europe, or Revel Germany, Into Darkness Enterprise 500 scale. This is the one I want to get Chris Pine and or Bruce Greenwood to sign for me when I can go to a model building convention again. And I also ordered the reference books. So the first one is the Next Generation Enterprise D reference book. So you can see an example of some of the pages in here. And I have a DS9 one. And when the other two model kits arrive, we'll see the TOS Enterprise and Voyager. But I also wanted to show you the paints that I used while I was in Europe. They're called TimberTech paints. They work a lot like the folk art paints. You don't need to thin them down with water or anything. And as you can see, you have the paint colors here. So there are 12 different colors, lots of shades of orange. That flesh color doesn't look like any flesh color I've ever seen. Looks like a reddish brown instead, but you can see the whole mix of colors for this one. That really dark blue in the bottom right corner is almost a black. And you see a greater range of guys here. And then, of course, I also, because I needed metallics for my 2500 scale Discovery Enterprise, so I ordered a game color metallic set. Let's see if on the back... Oh, here we go. That shows you the range of metallic colors that I have. And I used one of the golds to do its deflector dish. And that is basically everything I have so far. When the other box arrives, you'll see all the paintbrushes and the other two model kits. The new Revel Voyager 2019, it says. And the... Oh, actually, 1 minute. I can give you a preview. Hello, I'm back again. I wanted to show you what I did as far as model building during deployment. I don't have the models I built, they haven't arrived yet. But what I did do is I did label some of the instruction guides. Here we go. Because those two models I labeled, they haven't arrived yet. But I do have the model kit instruction guide. So for instance, you have the Revel Enterprise. I believe that is about 600 scale. And it's fully labeled, you can see the decal sheet here. So you can build it as one of 3 ships. And since the model already comes with grid lines, which you can see it comes with all these grid lines all over the saucer and even on the secondary hull. But I thought what I would do is I would use those Martha Stewart Pro paints that are up there. And I would experiment with just the light blue and just the orange and give it a pearlescent. Since the panel line's already there, you can just alternate the panels all the way around and give it a nice pearl coat. And you can see what I do here with my model kit instruction guide to plan my build. I realized I could use the Hobby Color Converter Android app to identify the color and the brand, because my hobby shop mostly has Tamiya's. And then some of the parts are really small, so they would be hand painted. So they'll be outlined in purple when they're hand painted. And most of the parts are big enough they can be spray painted, so outline that in pink. And then when the model kit is assembled, you do the arrows in blue, showing how it's assembled. And that's basically how I plan my build. And then when you get around to putting on the decals, I color them green because that's the only color I have left. I use the orange when there's a part I can't use or won't use. And I'm going to get a box from a model I've already built so that I can demonstrate. So I'll be right back with that. Thanks for waiting. I'm back again. As promised, I wanted to show you how I plan my build. So, for instance, we take the Brian's Eclipse from Fast and Furious. Well, let's lift up the tripod a bit. There you go, so you can see it. And actually, I'm going to move the tripod back a bit. Back to where I planned to use it in the first place. On top of the box, pointing at the table. So hopefully you're able to see everything. So you have the model kit instruction guide here. And so, and the good thing about Revel, they have table of contents. It shows the name of each part. So you can learn about cars at the same time. And it also has a color legend. Now, when I was deployed, I thought, okay, use the hobby color converter and use the color legend to find out what each color is. But you can see, when the model's completely built, you can see how colorful it is. But all those colors have a purpose. So for instance, the A is highlighted in yellow because I've identified the spray paint. It's paint prepped. And what I do is I use a silver Sharpie on, say, a part number. So when I'm preparing a number of parts for painting, and I want them all to be the same color, I highlight in silver Sharpie the part number. Oh, I gotta turn it around. Ah, there we go. See, one's already done. See? You can see the silver Sharpie. That way, I know, okay, everything with the silver Sharpie on it across all the sprue trees, because there could be 5 or 6, paint that, say, light gray. And then once those parts are painted, they go back in the box. I mark it on the guide. So let's say everything for letter A. And then I go for the next color, say G, and I do the same thing. And I usually start with a color that's on the first step, so that by the time I've got to, say, step, what's the final step in this one? Before assembly. Let's say I get to the final step of painting, which for this one was, there we go, see? Step 19, steel. Once I get to step 19 and I've done the final color steel, the first parts I painted, say aluminum, are already dry. I can start assembling the engine while I'm waiting for other parts I spray painted to dry. And I do the same with the decals. I go step by step, and then you can see the close-up of what Brian's Eclipse looks like. When it's all decaled and all painted, I use the light green, and I went over it with the candy lime green from Tamiya because I wanted to get that yellowish effect from the DVD cover. And this car, you can see the license plate right there. This car also has an opening hood. I had to trim the tabs a bit. Just a second here. Careful, careful. Don't want anything to get... Let's do this. There we go. There you go. The tab's held. And you can see all the parts of the engine, including whatever that was. So give me 1 minute. Oh, that was a headlight cover. That's easy enough. I can just glue that. Just give me 1 second. Well, you're going to get to see me do a little bit of model work here because I have to glue the piece that came off back onto the light. Now, it has 2 little pegs. So for this fine work, I'll use the Tamiya extra thin cement. So just dab a little bit in the holes only. Don't want to get the orange gluey. And then do a little bit of glue on the inside tabs. There you go. Keep my fingers out of the way. And then let's see the orientation towards the center. So it should go like this, go like that, glued in, give it time to settle, and that works. And then for the thicker parts, I use the extra, the stronger Tamiya cement. And I always have the toothpicks for guiding decals into place. I have the decal solution, Microsol, Microset, for decals that won't fit into place. And I always have an old container that I use not only for rinsing my paintbrushes, but also for the decal water. And there was one other thing I forgot to show you. I did remember something. I have a, you know those things you buy from Canadian Tire or Rona? You want to store different size of screws in, different size of nails, etc. Well, what I did is I bought one of those, but I use it for spare parts and decals from my model builds. So for instance, say the first drawer, you can see it has 1000 scale TOS Enterprise. Now, right now it doesn't have anything in it because I kept it in the box, but a lot of things like Enterprise D, spare decals. And it says number 7 because it was the 7th ship I built. So you can see all the spare decals in the box. Phaser strips, everything. Hello? All right, I'm back again after that phone call, but that's a good thing. That means I can now pick up my car tomorrow. I want to show you the 2 versions of the hood, the bumpers that come with the Fast and Furious Paul's Eclipse. Of course, these are parts that I wasn't able to use, but if you can see from the drawer, see drawer number 23, well, model build number 23, the spare parts, well, only one of the bumpers I used could fit in there. So what I had to do is I had to put the other 2 bumpers that I used for spray paint testing in the box itself, with all the spare parts and everything. You can see how I've done paint tests and everything on sprue trees. So the first bumper, you can see here, part number, focus, 6. I did in just the light green. Now the second bumper, I did in just the candy lime green, and you can see how the color shifts in the light. But you can see how there is some spillover from the white. So what I did with the actual car is I gave it a light green base, which you can see, say, under the spoiler there. And then I gave it the candy lime green on top. So as you move across the car, you can see the yellowish come out. But from a distance, just looking at it straight on, it looks pretty light green. But if you get closer, you get to the roof, you start to see the yellow. And of course the hood scoop, I was experimenting with the colors and I painted the hood scoop separately when I didn't paint the whole body, so it didn't quite work out. Well, it looks a bit different. And I have now glued in that headlight that came out when I was trying to show you the engine parts. I'm not going to try to do that again for a while. But I have another thing to show you. Okay, I'm back. So this is the bin, the big bin I use for spray painting. You can see the remnants of green from Brian's Eclipse. And then I'm going to have to use my tripod again for a minute. 1 second here. Oh, there we go. Put it up there. There we go. Shift it a bit. There you go. It's pointing right at the box. Excellent. Good. Lift the cover off the box. That's the Revel Voyager. The cover's all I have left. The other box was used for spray painting. It's just a cardboard box anyway. Then lift the phone up. Bring it over. Slide the bin out of the way, and you can see all my Tamiya spray paints. All the different colors, including the mica blue. Well, that's the pearl blue, and that's what I'm going to use for the Fast and Furious Honda. But also, what I did is I bought a couple of Martha Stewart spray paints. Chose a light gray, which is actually this one, light gray. I figured that was close to the color of the Enterprise, and then the white. And I have primer. And I also have Krylon Chrome. Now that's what I used on Voyager. It's the Krylon Chrome. There you go. I also used it on the Enterprise D and the Enterprise C. But what I used for the Enterprise E and the small Enterprise D there, I used a color called Silver Anniversary because I first built a model in 1993 and I started building again in 2018, 25 years later. And when I did Brian's Eclipse, I adapted from it and I used other colors on top of a plain orange. So I had the plain orange and I put the pure orange on top of it. Kind of deepens up the color and everything. So that's the spray paint box. And what I do with the bin, I'll show you in just a minute what I do with the bin when it's time to spray paint a color. Alright, I'm back again. What I have to show you now is my spray paint table. So this is what I spray paint on outside. And I use the turntable for sprue tree parts. I just clip them on and then I just spray across. And when I get to really small parts that I can't clip, I put them on the masking tape and then spray paint from there. Now, I put down the base color, which is, say, the blue. Then I use the folk art paint to color the detail, like the black. So basically that's about everything I have to show you for now, but by spray painting outside, I don't get fumes inside, I don't risk getting paint over the walls, and as long as I stand upwind so the spray paint doesn't land on me, and take it inside once it's sprayed, then I'm all set. So that's about all for now. Thanks for watching.